All right, hello everybody. That was a weird way to start off my podcast. Anyway, hello. This is the first. Well, not really first. It's more of an introduction podcast to the real podcast that I will be making. Let's adjust myself a little bit here, shall we? Uh, let's start over. Hi, how you doing? My name is Christian or Chris, whichever one you wanna call me. And I would like to thank you for listening to this introduction podcast that will eventually be the Movie Pit Podcast. And as the title suggests, and I do mean we, eventually I'll have more people here joining me in the future, hopefully, where we talk about movies, ranging from movie news, reviews, rants, and pretty much everything in between. And once we get, more situated, we'll be talking about other stuff eventually as well. But the primary focus for this podcast will be movies. And, because movies or films, whichever one you prefer, whatever way you want to call them, are always fun to talk about. And movies are one of the things that I love to talk about and to watch. So, and the Movie Pit, the name, it's not just a random name that I was like, yeah, I'll just call it the Movie Pit, whatever. The Movie Pit is actually the name of a radio show that I used to have in community college, and I always wanted to do a podcast, and I even talked about it on the show. And when the show ended, I said to myself, I'm gonna start a podcast, and I never did. And now I get the chance to do it. After all this time. So there you go. All right, so a little personal history about me. I'm not just some other guy that wants to start a podcast because, for the hell of it. Let's go way back, just a little bit. Not way back. Let's not get crazy. I didn't really have a firm grasp of what film movies were, and what what really went into making them. It took me a while to do that. It was around probably right before high school for me. How how everything went into them. I pretty much, like everyone, just you know saw the movie, saw the final product, and assumed that was it. I didn't think about what happened beforehand. I didn't grow a real appreciation to what film was until I actually got into high school and was surrounded by other people that had the same love and passion that I did. So I didn't know what a producer did or does. I didn't know what a director really did. I didn't know how long it took to make a real movie. I didn't care for cinematographers or set designers or stunt people or whatever. But once I learned what all of them did as I got older, and as I read stuff online or read books from people that were in the industry, my love for film grew even more and more to the point where I am today, and that's appreciating everything that happens, not just in the final product, but what happens before it. I'm not naive. I know politics exists in Hollywood too, and all that stuff, and maybe we'll talk about that in the podcast, once everything starts going. So, but, right now, we're going to take it slow. We're going to take it easy. And of course, it wasn't just about the people making the movies. It wasn't about just the directors. It wasn't about the actors and all that. What I fell in love with movies was, just what they can really do and what they can do to you personally. It was a lot of people, they like movies because it's a form of escapism, and for me, that movies is still like that. It's a form of escapism that I still enjoy today. It allows me not just to dive into a world that isn't my own, whether it be in a galaxy far, far away, or another planet, or another dimension, or alternate reality, or post-apocalyptic world, whatever, what have you. It's, or a real story, about real people. I enjoy, dare I say, thrive to be welcomed into a world for an hour and a half or, longer, to be a part of that world, to not worry about, my real life for a while, not worry about calling that person back or, I have a cat, which you'll probably eventually hear in the podcast as he meows, cleaning his litter box or giving him food or, going to the store or whatever. Going to the movies for me is, you probably just heard him right now, buddy. Sorry about that. Movies, films, they're awesome, and being, a part of that world for, however long it may be, and just being a part of something different. That's what I'm trying to get at. It's being a part of something different, and forgetting yourself and forgetting everything that's going on around you for however long it may be. That is what interests me, and that is what I love about films. There's some bad ones out there, obviously, and we'll talk about bad movies on the podcast as well once we get started. But it's just, what films do, and of course, what TV does as well. And maybe we'll talk about TV once we get more situated here on the podcast as well. But movies are my favorite form of escapism still. So there's that's and I wanted to share some of that with the world, and that's one of the reasons why I want to start a podcast, to get my opinion out there. The internet's full of opinions, obviously, but you can't, sometimes you need more than 140 characters or a long post on Facebook to get your thoughts out there. So podcast it is for me right now. Like I said, we'll talk about movie news. We'll do reviews. Talk about movies that are coming out in theaters, and hopefully when I have more people on here, my buddies and all my buddies, we'll just shoot the shit sometimes. So we'll go off on tangents, maybe probably make fun of each other. It's all good. All right. So yeah, this podcast, as you can tell, has been a long time in the making, and I just I hope that you guys listen. That's the main thing. I hope you guys listen. I hope it's not just my friends listening, and hopefully we'll get more people in that I don't know personally. But some things I can guarantee, if you continue to listen, one, the quality will hopefully get better. It's still figuring out volumes and all that. I'm still figuring out my microphone, which is brand new, so bear with me on that. And two, I promise to give you some kind of enjoyment. I'm not just gonna be reading off my phone or my laptop or whatever. I'm gonna try to give you as much fun on the podcast as possible. I'm not an expert. I obviously don't work in Hollywood or live in Hollywood or New York, which are the kind of central hubs for movie news. I live right just outside Chicago. I'm not an expert. I just pay a little bit more attention to the stuff that goes on. I go on websites. Like I said, I read articles and books of people that have been in the industry or in the industry. So I'm not an expert. I'm what my buddy of mine, who also has a podcast, his name is Mike. He has a podcast called Casual Experts. So that's that's a good term that he used that I thought was, I never referred to myself as that, but I'm a casual expert. Just leave it at that. So yeah, I know once I post this, I'll probably think of something that I should have said. I'd be like, oh, that would have been really cool to say. But I just want all you guys to know, if you continue to join me, I'll keep you as entertained as possible, and hopefully no more long pauses. I just threw that in there. I don't know what it means. So hopefully you'll join me. It's an introduction podcast, so it's just it's loose. It's not over the top. Thank you guys for joining me. Hopefully you guys listen. My name is Christian, and I'm sure the first podcast I'll put up will be an Oscar-related podcast, because the Oscars are, this week or Sunday, so I'll be posting that soon. I don't know if I'll be posting it the day of or maybe day before, but look forward to that. That will be my first podcast. So thank you guys so much for listening. I'm going to shut up now, and yeah. Thank you guys. Eventually this podcast will get better, I promise you. Not self-deprecating, just being honest with myself. Alright, I'm done. Thank you guys. See you guys next time.